Hello, this is a quick data science project that we worked on just over a year ago, where we tried to do churn analysis on a particular bank application. Now, the problem stated is that now there was a high churn rate on the particular banking app, and we're trying to devise ways for us to reduce this churn by using targeted communications, either via email or push messaging or web messaging. Now, the problem, the problem was to uh, solve it. We're going to solve this problem in three different categories, right? The first one is to having access to the data, gathering the key data that will be required to create the model. The second will be creating a model that will classify a customer's probability to churn into three categories. One is unlikely to churn, the other is likely to churn, and the third is very likely to churn. Now, having done this classification, the next step would be to create dynamic communications based on these three different classes, using the customer's information in terms of his biometrics, in terms of his activities on the platform, or in terms of his general account status, to communicate to them, so that they can interact, they can feel connected to the bank. Now, these three classes of for the data that we're going to be working, that we worked with, we had three different classes. We had the general customer data, which basically consists of his biometrics, which is his age, the gender, the account type that he has, or the account types if he has more than one, the product that he has subscribed to. So we have all these data stored in a particular repository on SQL Server somewhere. Now, the second key, source of data will be what we call the analytical profile of that particular customer, which is we need to know what is his average balance over the last 3 months, what are his total number of outflows, his total number of inflows in terms of frequency, what is the value of his outflows and the value of inflows in terms of, value of the transaction itself. Now, this information gives us a general understanding of the analytical, we'll call an analytical profile of that particular customer. Now, the third set of data that was used for this particular task was us, bringing together information about the customer's activity on the app itself, right? So we wanted to know how frequently does this customer log into the app? When he logs into the app, what does he do? Does he look at his balance? Does he do his transactions using the app? Does he buy uh, data from the app? Does he buy minutes in terms of telecoms for his phone and all of that, right? So this is the third group. We had all this data moved through a particular pipeline and stored in a particular repository. So this pipeline is being run on a weekly basis, and we have that data in that particular repository ready for us to use. Now, having the data in the repository made it easy for us to access it and use it to build our model. We built typically we built two main models. We built a support vector classifier, and with the probabilities. So we did the EDAs and got performance of over 80% accuracy. We also looked at the F1 score, for instance, the recall and all of that, right? So just leave that, and have a performance of over 80% accuracy, which was great. We also built a neural network model. The initial one was using a sequential model, which slightly outperformed the machine learning model. It uses more data, but it also runs on a it also uses more computational power than the machine level and takes more time to run. We compared these two models and chose the neural network model for the simple reason that it outperformed the machine learning model. In this instance, knowing fully well that we'll be running this model just once a month, we had time on our hands. We didn't have time constraint, and we didn't have a processing power limitation. So we stuck with the artificial neural network model, and and use that for our final deployment of the process. Now, having the what I'll call the result here, which is a data table of the classification that was done. Oh, just to mention, our classes was created using the probabilities. So from 0 to 0.5 we classify as unlikely to churn. From 0.5 to 0.75 we classified as just likely to churn, and from 0.75 and above we classified as very likely to churn. And those three classes was used in the final three classes of the model. Now that gave us a data table, right? A customer and their likelihood for churn. Now we take this, divided this into, created three segments, right? And we uploaded that data through an API into a marketing platform. Now this marketing platform is built for communications and personalization. We have this data of their likelihood to churn, but we also have data of their biometrics. We also have the data of their what we call the analytical profile. Now combining these three key information, the likelihood to churn, the biometrics, and the analytical profile, we're able to communicate to this customer. An example of that communication is saying, okay, Mr. Evans, right? Hello, Mr. Evans. We notice you've not logged into the app for the last 2 weeks. We know this because we have data for the frequency at which he has logged in, or the last time he logged in from the app itself, to do any transactions or even to buy data. We have it, so we can speak to that. Oh, we also notice you've not bought data for the past 2 weeks. Will you be interested in doing that, or are there any issues? So we could talk to the customer directly, and we found out that we got a lot of interactions. Customers were interacting with it. Customers were interacting with the email and making decisions, because in those email we had links, right? We have links directly straight to the app. We have some will come in form of a push notification, and they were done using send time optimization, meaning the application itself tracks when you're more likely going to interact with open an email or check a push message, and sends you that information at that time. So we did that, and at the end of the day we realized that we were eventually able to reduce churn by over 42%, which was a great result for the business, and we've been doing that ever since. Since then. Just go on to the next. Okay. Now that was the process at the very first stage. Over time, we've gone a lot. We've done a lot further than that. We've not only built the ability for you to we've not only built the churn model, we've also built models around creating the customer profile. We've also been able to interact better based on how the customer interacts. We've integrated USSD transactions. We've integrated other channels of communications outside the banking application itself, in terms of showing up in the branch and everything else, right? We've also created further segmentation analysis of the customer based on his analytical profile, and did the communication combining the segment he belongs to, based on his analytical profile, in conjunction with the churn analysis that was done, and a combination of those was used to create very specific templates for personalization that was used to communicate to these customers. So that's the stage that we're in now, and we're continuously developing, and we hope to get it better and reduce that churn by a bigger percentage as we go on. Thank you.